I'm Damien Tuga from ToeSalad.com. Today I thought I would do something a little different, and rather than doing a fully blown shoe review on video, that I would compare and contrast several different pairs that I am in the process of writing reviews for. These shoes will all eventually have a review on ToeSalad.com, but at the moment only a couple of them do, but with time we will get the rest up there. One of the reasons that I thought it would be a good idea to compare different shoe models is because everybody's foot is different. I have a very wide foot, and so I have the tendency to review shoes, well, not the tendency, I will review shoes from that perspective. Somebody else who has a medium foot would experience a very different fit and feel than somebody who has a wide foot such as myself, and somebody who has a narrow foot again would experience something different. So sometimes it's difficult to give a really good shoe review without knowing how it compares to other ones. One problem that all outdoor and sports shoe manufacturers have to contend with is the fact that if you're going to make a minimalist shoe, you want to make the toe box anatomically correct, which means wide. And when you're doing a highly active sport or activity, the problem or tendency is that your foot can slide around in a wide toe box. So if you are a runner or a hiker and you're going downhill and you have a wide toe box, your foot can jam into the front of the shoe and you can end up injuring your toes or getting blackened toenails, bruised toenails. If you are playing a sport that has a lot of stop and go activity, having your foot slide around in that wide toe box can actually make it a little dangerous for you, because you may twist your ankle or injure yourself in some way because you would lose stability. So the problem is, how do you create a shoe that has a wide toe box and a very anatomically correct last, while at the same time providing security to the foot? And each shoe manufacturer, I've found, kind of approaches the problem from a different angle, and so that's one of the differences I'd like to highlight in the shoes that I'm going to be comparing today. The first shoe that I'd like to start with is the Ultra Atom. The Ultra Atom is good, I find, for a wide foot. And I don't know if this is the same across all of their shoes, but there are a few features that the Ultra Atom has that make it good for my feet and what I have found to be the most comfortable shoe for my wide feet. The first feature that the Ultra Atom has is that it is made out of a stretchy fabric on the upper. It's almost like a soft shell fabric. It has what feels like a four-way stretch. So that allows wide feet to be able to bulge out to the side, and so even if the last of the shoe isn't exactly your size, your feet can still stretch out of the sides of the shoes and give you a good fit. The other thing that the Ultra Atom does is the way it locks your foot in is different than other shoes that I've tried. I don't know if this is the way they designed it, but this is the way I felt it works for me, and that is the Ultra Atom tends to lock my heel into the back of the shoe, and it prevents my foot from sliding, while at the same time gives my feet lots of room in the toe box for my toes to splay and for my feet to expand under impact. The sole is relatively flat. It doesn't have a lot of lugs or other features on the foot of the shoe. One of the features that it does have, I'm not sure if you can see it well here, is that it has a razor-siped sole. If you see when I bend the shoe, you see those little cuts in the sole. Basically, what that does is it creates a very flexible shoe, so you can see how flexible this shoe is, while still having a significant amount of rubber on the bottom to give you the protection you need. The other thing that razor siping does is it also provides better traction on surfaces that may be slippery. So wet rock or flat surfaces, you'll get good traction. The downside to this sole, of course, is that without having lugs, it doesn't perform particularly well in loose terrain. So if you're going to be hiking in wet moss or lots of gravel or any kind of loose terrain, this sole won't perform as good as the sole that has lugs. That being said, the extreme flexibility of the shoe does allow your foot to mold to the terrain better than a stiffer shoe, so that does provide a certain amount of traction. The Ultra Atom also does have a removable insole. You can use it either with or without the removable insole to add more volume, depending on what your needs are or how thick your socks are. The next shoe I'd like to go over is the Barefoot Trail Glove. The Trail Glove is Merrell's first foray into the barefoot minimalist shoe market, and I'd say they've done a pretty good job. With my wide feet, I find that the Trail Glove tends to be a little on the narrow side for me, and part of that has to do with the way that they are securing the foot for physical activity and sports. The way Merrell has approached it, from what I feel, is that rather than sucking your heel into the back, granted they do hold your heel into the back, one of the things they do is they wrap really tightly around the midfoot and the top of the foot, so your foot feels like it's really being sucked in around this aspect of the shoe. And so what sensation that gives you is you feel like there is an arch support in the shoe because it's sucking the arch into the bottom of your foot. So there is a little bit of an arch here, but what you can see is that because it's very flexible, it's really not providing much in the way of support, and so under impact your arch can flex and move the way it needs to, although it is kind of a weird sensation to get used to. The other thing with the Trail Glove is that because the upper is made out of a mesh, it will break in over time, and the EVA through the arch also breaks in a bit, so these shoes do improve in comfort over time. They have a really nice beefy rand around the toe box that also has an abrasion resistant coating on it. I really like that about these shoes. I think that they're very durable. The soles of these shoes have a little bit more lugs than the Ultra Atoms did. Not a lot more, a little bit more. This makes them, I would say, a good shoe for both road and hard pack trail running and hiking. Still, lugs aren't big enough for loose dirt, gravel, and soil, but overall I'd say it's a fairly decent general outdoor use shoe. The uppers of these are not particularly stretchy. If there's some stretch, it's just a mechanical stretch. There is no elastic material in there. It is a mesh, so it does breathe fairly well, and it's overall a durable shoe. It doesn't have any sort of removable insole, so you can't really change the volume of this shoe very much at all, unless you just vary the thickness of your socks. As I said before, I find that the way this shoe wraps around this part of my foot, that is the part of my foot that is the widest, and so this shoe doesn't work as well for me as the Atoms because it is a little bit restricting for me in that area. The toe box is nice and wide, and I can't complain about anything to do with the toe box. It works great. With that, the other shoe that I have here from Merrell is what's called the True Glove, and the True Glove and the Trail Glove are basically the same shoe with a few subtle differences, and those differences have to do with the way the upper is constructed. The upper of the True Glove is made out of a artificial leather material. It's got some really tiny holes in it. You can't really see it. Little perforations. I assume that's for breathability. What this does to the shoe is it provides a little bit more robust abrasion resistant upper. At the same time, I've found that the upper does not conform as well to my feet. It doesn't stretch quite as much and is a little bit more restricting for me. I prefer shoes that have a very soft, flexible upper because of my wide feet. Now, if you're a person who doesn't have wide feet, you might find that not a problem for you, but if you do have wide feet, I would say this shoe is a little bit more restrictive than the Trail Glove. It's got the same nice beefy rand across the toes. It's got the same sole, it's got the same last, the inside is designed the same, so the only thing that's different is the artificial leather, and the mesh is a little different design as well. So this shoe won't breathe quite as well as the Trail Glove, but it'll be more robust, and I would say a good all-around outdoor shoe Probably less intended for running and more for hiking, cycling, and any other, general outdoor usage you might have.